Hey everyone, this is Jack from the Cardboard Herald, and today we are going over 5 quick tips that anyone can employ to improve their game at Marvel Champions. My first tip is to make sure you do your best to wring every possible thing you can do out of your hand each round. Yes, what I'm saying is those high resource cost cards that are in your hand, oftentimes they're just going to be resource fodder, because in this game you discard cards as resources to pay for other cards. Yeah, they may look good for your engine, or they may look good for a number of reasons. They're big and stompy allies like War Machine or something, but ultimately, unless it's an integral part of your engine, or it's a card that you know for a fact you're going to prioritize playing into next round, I would make sure that you are playing as many cards as you can this round and holding on to maybe one at most from this round into next. Play the cards in your hand. Number 2 is along those same lines. Resource production is important. And that may seem like an obvious tip to a lot of people who have played a lot of card games, but it's easy to start feeling like in this game, oh, I don't need to worry about lands or mana. My cards are discarded for resources in and of themselves. But there are a host of cards which are renewable resources, and they'll allow you to take advantage of those higher cost cards which are inherently hard to play. Those cards I was just mentioning that you might have to suck it up and just use it as a resource earlier on, well, you can take advantage of those much better if you have resource production in order to pay for them. Number 3, rely on your allies, especially as meat shields. But in general, allies have a ton of uses. They have all kinds of abilities, they can thwart, they can attack, but very important, they can defend. What I like to do is I like to utilize an ally as much as I can so they're just on the cusp of defeat, because most of them have that attrition mechanic where they're taking damage each time that they thwart or attack. And so you get them until they have only like 1 life left, and Daredevil's like, oh, Spidey, I'm just barely holding on. And then you're like, good thing that you can take a 5 damage punch in the face, so I don't have to. Speaking of damage, number 4 is to plan out your attacks meticulously. This is a numbers game where every single point of damage is going to count, and there's no spillover when you defeat a minion or a stage of a villain, so you don't want to waste a lot of really big attacks when lesser attacks could do. An example of this would be if I'm playing as Spider-Man and I have Web Swing as a really heavy damage attack in my hand, and the villain is just on the cusp of being defeated in their current stage. Rather than play that Web Swing now, I might look at any other viable option I have in order to play just a little attack against the villain in order to get to the next stage and then hit with that Web Swing. And if I can't do that, and I would be wasting that huge attack, that is a perfect example of a card that I would hold into next round, prioritizing to play after I can ping the villain for damage on the next turn, initiating the next stage, and then taking advantage of that full attack. And my last tip is to think about thwarting as a means to an end. Thwarting in itself does not win a scenario. It just delays the inevitable, but it is inevitable. You are going to lose if you let the clock run out, and no amount of thwarting is going to stop that, because if you're focusing all your time on thwarting, you're just going to take tons of damage. Health is going to run out. Likewise, if you're going to do a bunch of damage and ignore thwarting, then the scheme is eventually going to run up to the point that you lose the game. It is a balancing act, but thwarting does not result in winning, whereas attacking ultimately does. So you're only going to want to thwart, remove the threat from schemes, so long as it postpones you losing the game or some other triggering effect that's going to damage you. But otherwise, focus as much as you can on making sure that the villain is defeated, because that is the only way that you're going to win the game. Don't get lost in thwarting. And that's it. That's it for our tips. Those are our 5 quick, easy to apply tips when it comes to playing Marvel Champions. If you want a video like this or any other game, or a video like this focused on building a deck in Marvel Champions, well, I'd be certainly considerate of that if you let us know in the comments below. If you have your own tips, we'd love to hear them as well. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.